The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Good morning. Court Radio is now in session. Call 215-227-2727. When you've got legal questions, we've got the answers. This is Court Radio. And now here's your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome to Court Radio. I'm Dean Weitzman, and this is Court Radio. Joined in the studio with my co-host, the one and the only, the inimitable David M. Rappaport.
Good morning. Beautiful morning.
Yes, it is.
It's a beautiful day.
This is Court Radio. You got legal questions. David and I probably have the answer. All you got to do is give us a call. 215-227-2727. There you go.
So what's the word?
What's the word? It's the Philadelphia bike race, Philadelphia International bike race that interfered with our ride in.
As it always does every year.
Yes. It's really the only thing that matters. It interferes with Court Radio.
At least you don't live in Manayunk, or it must be crazy to get around there.
Yeah, I guess. Except if you're selling water or water ice or something, you know, you get to stand out in front of your house.
But what did I tell you today was the special thing today?
Women.
The women are racing second.
No, first.
No, the men race first.
Oh.
Then the women are the premier event.
I see. And right. Okay, got it.
Yeah, right.
So why is it? Why are the women racing second?
Because apparently it is the only World Cup women's event for bike racing in the United States this year.
Aha.
Which is unusual. I think they have more than one usually. So it's the only World Cup event. So internationally, here for an international World Cup event.
I'm so honored.
Yeah, it's a pretty big thing. It's a big thing, and so they decided to make it the premier event.
Maybe next year we'll be having the Triple Crown event.
Oh, yeah, and that's the other news story.
They'll be doing racing in Doylestown.
Now, maybe we should do a test, because you failed the test.
I did.
There's 3 Triple Crown winners since the 70s.
Since the 70s.
And it's been 37 years since the Triple Crown was won. And this American Pharaoh won Triple Crown.
American Pharaoh this year won the Triple Crown.
I think it's American Pharaoh. It's something Pharaoh.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, the Triple Crown. You know what that? The Preakness, Kentucky Derby,
and the Belmont
Stakes.
Right.
And in 77 and 78, there was Triple Crown winners each of those years. Can you name them? You couldn't. I had to tell you. Yeah. And if someone can, maybe they should win.
Did you know that?
No, of course no.
Okay.
I knew it. Well, yes, I did. Of course I did. Of course I knew it.
You knew it?
I knew it by looking it up on Google.
Right. See, nowadays, nothing, you could find out anything.
I know, and someone could have the answer right now.
Their fingers are tickling the keyboard and coming up with the answer.
I know. Well, okay, so what? You still give them a prize.
Okay. T-shirt winners today.
So it is American Pharaoh.
Yeah.
And then 77 and 78 were the Triple Crown winners.
I remember 77.
You did. You remember that one.
Yeah, I did remember 77. I think somebody, wasn't it one of the car dealerships I thought had an interest in one of the Triple Crown winners, the Chapman Ford organization.
Oh, maybe.
I thought. But maybe I'm wrong. 215-227-2727 gets you into the studio where David and I will tackle your legal questions. So we got, sadly, there was some sad news. The fellow who was on The Voice this year, which I have to tell you,
he was from Philadelphia street performer.
Yeah, Anthony Riley. I don't watch TV generally. I don't watch reality TV specifically, but this for some reason is the only show I watch. I'm not crazy. I don't watch every second of every show, but I mean, if I have an opportunity, I like The Voice.
You like what's his name?
Yeah.
You like the Maroon 5 singer, right? Is that what it is?
What's his name? Adam.
Adam. Yo,
Yeah.
you see, you even
Yeah.
know his name.
I
do.
Adam. Yeah, but in any event, this guy was extraordinary. And then the week later, he was gone.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
Well, he left on his own. On that, that whole story.
I thought he was thrown out.
No, he told them he had a problem, and he wanted to address it. So he went to rehab. Came back to Philly and went to rehab. Apparently, went through the rehab and. I won't say was, reborn, but it was successful, we thought.
Well, yeah, it's never successful until you have time.
Right.
I mean, that you could say it's successful, but time is what tells whether it's been a success or not. And so it was, he fought those demons and they won. And that's the bottom line. He took his own life recently. Was it this weekend, David?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or later, the latter part of the week.
Yeah. And,
Friday, actually.
Condolences to Anthony Riley and his people. He actually was he was staying with the family of the Iovines, the ones who own the produce stand at the Reading terminal. That I get my cherries from in December.
All right, okay.
Yeah, which nowadays, like Google, is no big deal because everybody gets cherries in December.
Yeah, the GMO cherries.
Yeah. Chilean cherries.
They glow when you turn the lights on.
All right, let's talk to Rebecca from Lindenwold, New Jersey, who's got an automobile car contract loan harassment. My Lord.
Oh, God.
Rebecca, could you have anything more going on with this car?
I know, right? I'm so ready to just be done with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyhow, good morning.
Good morning to you. Give us the short version. What's going on?
Short version, I'm in the middle of a contract with a buy here, pay here place, which was really, really good for a long time. I mean, this is like the fourth car that between my husband and I we bought from them. They've apparently done a complete overhaul. And I'm someone who doesn't miss payments. And I am getting these phone calls when I'm well within the confines of my contract because I get a 10-day grace period. They're calling, oh, we're going to tow your car. Your file's going to leave our desk if you don't call me by this time. But I'm well within the confines of my 10-day grace period. Why are you calling me and threatening to tow my car? And it's becoming a problem because they did it once already where they actually towed it when I was within my 10-day grace period. And I had to pay the fees, the towing fees, and all of that kind of stuff.
Well,
my husband's like,
that's your mistake. If they did something in violation of the contract, here's the answer. There's nothing you could do that's going to stop them from calling you for essentially a collection call. I mean, if it does become harassing, I suppose you could attempt to call file a complaint with the district attorney in the county in which you live or they are. But I'm not certain that this rises to the level of harassment. It's the new tactic for collections. I get these calls myself from people that I have loans with. Like you said, it's one day after the due date, but well within the grace period. You get a telephone call. Hey, just reminding you that your loan is due. This, I guess,
right.
is
I'm cool with reminders. I'm okay with that. But I have a problem when you start to threaten.
right.
That's
Well,
what becomes a problem for me.
if that there's a fine, it's not easy to define harassment when it crosses that line in how many calls they make in a given period or what they say during those calls. Collection people have to be very careful about what they do because there's rules and laws established to protect you from their insane behavior at times. And so they may be crossing that line, in which case you could file. That's what I was getting back to. If they've done something in violation of the law or of the contract, you can sue them. Okay? That's the answer. And so if they've taken your car and you're within the grace period, then I would say you have the right to sue them for your towing bill and for whatever else. Go ahead and do it. Even if it's for $75 or $100, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to be in a if you're in Jersey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to be in a municipal court somewhere in New Jersey, and you're going to win.
But for the harassment part, you might want to reference the the Fair Credit Debt Collection Act or something.
Yeah. Yes.
Where there's some strict there's a strict confines that they have to deal within when they call on a debt. If they send you a letter or so, and there could be some severe damages to them if they violate it. So I'm not so sure they fall within it, but you might want to threaten that via letter, certified, saying, you've been doing this, harassing me. You once took the car. If you continue to do it, blah, 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 and threaten them back, and it might stop,
David gives great advice. It has to be in writing that you send them this letter and send it certified.
David gives great advice.
And second,
the sun is shining. I mean, that's the obvious things. David gives great advice. The sun is shining.
He's my
and there's
burden.
a bike race today.
He's my burden. All right. I can't take him any longer. Take him out of the studio. All right, so we'll catch up with you, but give us a call back and let us know how that works out for you.
All right, thank you.
All right. 215-227-2727. David?
Yes, we have a guest. I knew you were going to say.
I have to segue from you to the guest. Mike Ricci, how are you, sir? Welcome to Core Radio.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. We've been trying to get Mike in the studio forever, and he's finally here. It's great to have you. Tell people, why
are you here?
Yeah,
Who are you?
I wish I wasn't here.
You wish you weren't. I, as a father, I probably would say I can wholeheartedly agree with that. That's where I'm going to go with this. My questions are all about how you came to be sitting in our chair here at Court Radio.
Yeah.
But give our listeners who don't know you a kind of a thumbnail sketch of why you're here, why it's relevant.
Back in almost 3 years ago, my daughter graduated high school, Washington Township High School in New Jersey. Her mother and I were divorced when she was 3 years old. The only time her mother and I ever saw the inside of a courtroom was when we were figuring out custody. It was very amicable throughout our whole relationship, raising her, and the decisions that we had to make for her. She was like any other high school kid, ran into problems, did things she shouldn't have done, like we all did. She graduated Washington Township about 3 years ago, and then she wanted to go away to school, but we weren't really sure if she was mature enough to do that, so we asked her to just go to community college to start out, and then we would kind of make a decision based on that. So the fall of after graduating high school, she went to Gloucester County Community College. She did fairly well, and then she decided to take an internship at Disney. And her mother and I supported it. We wanted to give her this opportunity to live away. So I flew down with her. Her mother provided her whatever she needed to go to Disney to live there. And within 3 weeks of being at Disney, I get a phone call that she's been kicked out for underage drinking. So she flew herself home. She came home, and once she came home, her mother and I sat down with her and kind of outlined what she needed to do now that she was living back at home. Curfew, job, classes she needed to take in the summer because she had lost a whole semester. And she decided that she didn't want to live within those rules, and she moved out of the house, her mother's house, and decided to go live with my mother and father, her grandparents, who haven't had a relationship with in a while. So she goes there, lives there for a couple weeks. We call her, reach out to my parents and say, it's time to send her home. We understand that she probably had to go blow off some steam. She was upset. She decided, her grandmother said to her mother and I that she could stay here as long as she wants. And
so grandmom's kind of usurping the parental role at this point. Let me ask you something.
And how old is she at that point?
She's
19. 19, okay.
And is your daughter the only child between you and your ex?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So she doesn't have any siblings.
She doesn't. She has stepbrothers and sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so she goes live with your parents, and then what happens?
And you asked, obviously you wanted her to come back. They said she can stay here as long as she wants.
Right, and that's when I knew the problems were going to start.
Okay.
So I knew we were going to have issues. I knew she was going to, they were going to make it difficult for her to come back home. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that her grandparents would hire an attorney.
Okay.
To have my daughter sue us for her college education. So she decides that the only communication that I had with my daughter for about a year and a half after she moved out of the house was through social media.
Okay.
So we did not talk at all. We did not communicate. We looked on. We were blocked from her Facebook page, but we could see Twitter. And then about a year and a half ago in August, my ex-wife and I looked at her Twitter page and saw that she was accepted and going to Temple University. And that's how I found out she was going there.
Now, who was paying for that? Your parents, the grandparents? Or
no.
she then sued us
to
pay for it.
Interesting. So she, the judge originally told her that she needed to apply for any and all loans before we were hit with any bill, right?
Now, let's just preface this.
Yeah, let's go back a little
Let's
bit.
give people the venue because that's important.
It is important.
Yeah. So you live and your daughter lives in the state of New Jersey, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Okay. Because folks who are listening, I want you to know that what we're going to describe with this scenario it couldn't happen in Pennsylvania.
That's correct.
Because we don't make it a requirement to support your child in their post-high school endeavors.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay.
Once they're 18, boom, it's over.
Right. And it wasn't
in
always
Pennsylvania.
It wasn't always like
Wasn't
that.
always like that.
When I started practicing law back in the caveman days, you did have an obligation beyond high school.
Right, if they went straight through.
Yeah.
Well, it's important to note too, and I'm trying to get everything in as quickly as I can. But when she moved out of her mother's house, she became emancipated. Her mother called me up and said that, I shouldn't pay child support anymore because she no longer lives there. So the only way to stop child support in the state of New Jersey is to emancipate.
Emancipate,
child,
right? Yeah.
So she becomes emancipated, and so now she's an adult. She's on her own. She understood it. We talked to her about it. We told her what emancipation means to her, and so
right. And under Jersey, and the Jersey law is that if she was in the household, even though she turned 18,
right.
Parents still have an obligation to pay support.
Right. So she moves out. She doesn't talk to us for a year and a half. The next thing you know,
right.
we're getting sued for college education. Now,
well, let me ask you, during that year and a half, did you reach out to her?
Absolutely.
And text her on her cell phone? And
we would text her. We would, her mother sent her gifts like for her birthday.
And all of this over, I mean, I don't hear the big fight. I mean, where's the big blow up on this?
Well, the big blow up, I think, and my ex.
Well, that was you bringing her home, right? And reading her the Riot Act.
She came home, and then you two sat down with her, and
well, we did what we thought we were being responsible parents. And
right.
How bad was that interaction? When you all three sat down when she came back from Florida.
We sat down at a Panera Bread in Deffert, New Jersey, and I outlined exactly what I wanted her to do. 3 summer classes. She had a curfew, 12:30 curfew. She had to do some things around the house. She had to take 3 summer classes.
That doesn't sound too unreasonable.
I'm telling you, that's the extent of it. There was no.
It can't get. How bad can it get if you're in a public place?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Panera bread flying all over the place, right?
So in the state of New Jersey, if you're married and you have children, you are not legally required to pay for your children's college education. If you are divorced in the state of New Jersey, then you are required to pay for your kids' education. So, and I didn't know that.
And that's a function of case law, I believe. It's not a statutory thing, is it? It's cases have
There's no
borne
statute.
that out.
There's no statute that says if you're married,
right. It's
you
the
can
cases
stop paying at 18.
Right.
But I mean, up to 18, if you're married, you have a duty to support your child,
exactly,
clothe them,
everything.
educate them, get the medical care.
Yeah, and I just want to make one thing clear: we did not say that we were not going to contribute to her college education.
Right.
So the first notice you have, she didn't call and say, "Daddy, can you help pay for?"
Yeah, I got it to Temple. I need money. Can you guys help us?
No, it was a letter, I believe, the Saturday before Mother's Day that her wonderful attorney sent to her mother and I, saying,
"Did you hear that, David?"
Oh, that was a little dated.
Yeah.
Her wonderful attorney. As a knife was attached to that.
Let me step out of the courtroom.
Yeah, really. I'm suddenly feeling a little cold in here.
Well, listen, we're gonna take a quick break. But if you've got questions for Mike or David and I, this is the time to ask it. I can't believe I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, we got to get to
the first time he hears from anybody
is a lawyer,
and
we got to hear what happens. I got to hear what happens from there.
I don't do domestic relations.
Yeah.
Okay, we have attorneys at My Philly Lawyer who do, but I don't. But I would think if I know myself, what I would have done is sent a letter saying I represent your daughter and give me a call. And I'd have a conversation and say, look, she came in.
Yeah, here's the deal.
But we got to get more of this story. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. If you got questions, we got the answers.
It's a legal and financial squeeze. You're unable to work because of an accident, but your legal case is still not settled, so you can't pay the bills to take care of your family. But now, thanks to U.S. Claims, you can. If you have a pending lawsuit, call 1-877-U.S. Claims. While you're waiting for your settlement, U.S. Claims can help you pay the bills. Get out of the squeeze. Call 1-877-U.S. Claims today. If you have legal problems and need answers, call My Philly Lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first at 215-227-2727 for personal injury, medical malpractice, birth injury, and more. Call Dean first.
He will fight for your rights. That's what Dean Weitzman is all about.
Call My Philly Lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first. 215-227-2727. My Philly Lawyer, when winning matters most. For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Wow. That's some lead-in music,
Yeah,
David.
I'll tell you.
Were you drumming on that?
No, unfortunately.
215-227.
2727.
Hey.
You waiting for me to say that? I know the number.
Okay. Who doesn't know the number? That's the question. My Philly Lawyer, 215-227-2727. And on Sunday mornings, it's Court Radio. If you've got legal questions, we've got the answer. Let's talk to, is this Darlene or Darlise? Darlise. Okay, I thought you made a mistake there, Monarchy.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Darlise. Welcome to Court Radio.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. What?
My brother, he died without a will, and we own a property together, and I'm trying to sell the property.
Where'd he die?
But
Jersey?
He died in New Jersey.
Where's the property?
In New Jersey.
Does he have any children
No, he don't have any children.
or wife?
No.
Okay.
And, we would normally ask how you own the property. In other words, it's...
My dad is...
No. Listen to me. The language, there's
On the
ways,
deed, yeah.
the ways to own a property by deed called right of survivorship, and that means that the one who survives gets the property, and then you can own it as tenants in common.
Right.
And if you
That's
own...
how we own it.
Tenants in common?
Well,
Okay.
then his half...
Yeah.
goes to his beneficiaries, which
happens to be no parents.
No. Well, parents
Yeah.
possibly. And do you have siblings in common with your brother? Other sisters and brothers?
Yes, but my two brothers, they died. But I talked to a lawyer, and he said that his part of the house goes to my niece and nephew.
Yep.
Okay, so your brother
So
has
he did have
children.
Didn't I ask that?
That's right.
Okay, so
He didn't have any children.
he doesn't. So who's the nieces
Who's the
and
niece and
nephew?
nephew?
Your other brother's
Children
kids.
of my other brother.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, that obviously because they. Go ahead.
Here's what happens. Imagine your brother's half of the property as being separate. Okay, it goes into a pot. That pot is taken by all of the beneficiaries of your brother on his death, intestate beneficiaries, because he doesn't have a will.
So
and the intestate beneficiaries are his other siblings. That's your brothers who predeceased you. But when they predecease you, then it goes to their children. And you.
It's
and
her
you.
too. Yeah. So there's three interests. You and the two brothers who are passed. So they're.
So you get 1/3 of
right.
your brother's 1/2.
Correct.
And that would be about 16%.
See, that's the extent of the math to let you know that you need a lawyer to do. No, really, I'm not trying to be funny, but you definitely need a lawyer to really navigate through all of this.
And this is why we have Saul, because
call Saul.
You better call Saul, because if you've got property and you've got these complications, you need to spend a few dollars, and literally it's just a few dollars.
Yeah, it's not expensive
to do a will and to make sure that what happens with that property is what you want to have happen. And you never know. Well, we're only in our 30s or 40s or what have you. You go outside, you walk across the street, you get hit by a car, and it's over. And you didn't, you weren't planning
have
for that.
Have a great Sunday.
Hey, listen, sometimes today on Court Radio, you got to hear the truth. All right, Darlise, stay on the line. We're going to get you a T-shirt.
I live in Benton Harbor, Michigan, and my dad stipulated in the will that she don't get anything, and me and my brother owned half of the house apiece.
Right.
And if something happened to me, my half goes down to my daughter.
Correct.
That my half would go down to my daughter, and she'll get it.
If it says it in the will, Darlise, that's what's going to happen. But you got to have
go through a lawyer for this thing.
You got to have testamentary documents in order to affect what you want. So it's not word of mouth. It's got to be a properly executed will, and it's not that expensive. And folks need to know it needs to happen. Otherwise, you get in a situation like Darlise, where children of dead brothers and sisters are getting pieces of properties that you didn't really want them to get. All right. Anyway, Darlise, thanks for calling Court Radio. Stay on the line. Monica's going to jump back on to get your address. We're going to get you a Court Radio T-shirt. 215-227-2727. Let's get back. We got our guest, Mike Ricci's in the studio, and Mike's getting sued by his daughter. to pay for her college education. I'd love to hear what the listeners have to say about that. So tell us, what happened?
So we were at the point where the lawyer sent you a letter.
Yeah, you got sued.
The mother.
Did you and your ex retain counsel?
We did.
Did you do it as a group?
No, we did it separately.
So you each have your own attorneys.
Yes.
And your daughter has hers.
Yes.
Wow, that must be a great hearing.
Yeah, it's
Have you seen your daughter in court?
I see her. It's the only time I've seen her in the last 3 years. Is the 3 or 4 times that we've been to court. It's the only time I've seen her.
And all kidding aside, I'm a dad.
Yeah.
This has to kill you.
It does. I mean, it's when you have a child coming from a divorced family, we did. Her mother and I did our best to raise her, and when we raised her in a way where we had shared custody. So I was not the kind of father that had her every other weekend and just on the holidays. We worked out a situation where every Thursday through Sunday she was with me growing up. So we truly had split custody throughout the week, and we were both involved in her life. And although she had the things that she wanted growing up, she still had to work for those things. She wasn't a spoiled child. But she just, my ex wrote a great blog about the age of entitlement and the generation of these kids. And
it's true.
It's true. And unfortunately, our daughter's fallen into that.
So what is it that, what motivates you? Because you got to be spending as much money for lawyers as you'd have to spend for Temple, or close to. I mean, it would have been easier for you just to give up some cash.
Let me, and before you answer that, I want to preface that our conversation that was off the air. It's directly in line with that. My first impression driving in today, hearing that you were going to be on the show and reading about what the issue was that question that I asked you, which is in line with Dean, where I said, if you put everything aside, it's still your daughter. Why wouldn't you just pay if you were willing to do it before? Not only would it end the lawsuit, presumably, but it would help her. Mm-hmm. And you had your reasoning resonated with me because it made sense, and I didn't think it would. I thought there's no way you were going to be able to come up with an answer for me that's going to make sense to me, but it does make sense. And what's the reason?
It's just what kind of lesson am I teaching her by just saying, you don't have to talk to me, you don't have to have a relationship with me, you can just look at me as like an ATM machine, and what lesson is that teaching her about responsibility and
the other thing you said was that you don't have an input, you're not being given the opportunity to share in decisions,
right?
And guide her like a parent would, or at least give her the opportunity to take your opinion and use it in a way that could be helpful.
I mean, how do you allow any child, whether you're married or divorced, to decide I'm going to go to any school I want without having any kind
just
of
give me money and I'll do whatever I want with it. Yeah, it's really what is.
And it's just not. It's not the way. It's funny because when I was growing up, I went to Ursinus College my freshman year, and like some kids, I didn't do well my freshman year, so my parents told me, "You're coming home,
right?
You're not going back to Ursinus. We're not going to pay for
right, sure.
And you're going to go to community college, and then you're going to transfer to Rutgers in state. This is something that we can afford,
right."
And so I did what my parents told me to do,
right.
And so we're parenting her the same way. She went to that internship. She didn't do well. Told her to come home. Wanted her to apply to an in-state school. Do some things around the house, have a curfew, that type of thing. And she just decided, you know what? I don't want to do it. I'm going to leave, and walks out of the house. We don't hear from her for a year and a half, and then we wind up getting sued.
But I still want you to pay for
please.
I get it. I get the whole thing.
But now she doesn't have the money to retain attorneys.
Yeah, right.
Let me tell you,
so this is where her grandparents.
Yeah,
come.
Right. The attorneys who are representing your daughter aren't doing it for free.
Right.
They need to be paid on domestic relations matters by the hour. Who's funding it?
Yeah. Well, her grandparents are now paying for the attorney. I go back to what you said before we went to break. Was I would think. And you mentioned how you would have handled the situation. If a child comes into your office and says they want to sue their parents for college education, I'm thinking there's a couple different ways you can handle it. The first way probably wouldn't be to just
sue,
right?
No.
I'd probably
definitely
try.
not.
I would probably try to have a meeting,
Right, bring everyone together.
and bring everybody together,
Right.
You know, because that's the way I would have done it. I think, and that apparently isn't what happened here.
No, well, it just showed. I mean, to me, it just shows you the character of her attorney and what he was trying to do.
Well, not only that, but I have to say the grandparents too. Why? Because the thought that again comes to my mind. I think practically, why would they spend money on a lawyer? Maybe they should have just given her the money. They're living with her. Give her the money for Temple,
Right.
If that's what she wants to do, and they're taking care of her, so to speak, and she's obviously listening to them in some way, shape, or form. Why would there be this disconnect? Oh, we're going to pay you a lawyer to sue your parents to pay.
Sounds like there's still some anger between you and mommy and daddy, between you
and your
mom and dad.
Well, I mean, there is. I mean, not. I guess there. It was worse years ago, and we haven't talked in probably about 10, 11 years. So there is some animosity there. There still is. When my daughter left, as I mentioned earlier, when my daughter left her mother's house to go to her mom, my parents' house, her grandparents, she knew what she was doing. She was going to a place that she knew her father and her mother wouldn't approve.
The other thing is, I can only think that the advice she's getting from your parents can't be positive toward you and your ex.
And we've addressed that in court also. I mean, I can't imagine her sitting at the dinner table and her saying nice things about her mother.
And that might have been an impetus for her to decide to sue. I mean, maybe it wasn't full. I don't know. I'm just saying there's negative influences there that are fueling everything.
Right.
Well, we got a caller.
Okay.
Let's take a caller. Let's take Rachel from Blackwood, New Jersey. Welcome to Court Radio.
Hi.
So, Rachel, you would sue your own parents for tuition.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
My father, when I was 19, my father gave me a choice. He said, you can either go to veterinary school or graphic design. And I was a very troubled teenager, and I didn't want to do either.
Okay.
But I felt really pressured by him. So I picked the one graphic design. And he said that he was going to handle all of the tuition. And then he somehow, tricked me. He paid half of it. And then he tricked me, and he put it in my name. Now, I went to the school, but I never, worked in the field, and I have no interest in that whatsoever.
Okay.
So, I have, $10,000 that I'm supposed to pay, and I can't afford to pay it. I'm actually waiting to get on disability right now.
And you're
SSI disability.
Right. And
so you want to sue him for the $10,000?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like
that he lured you into.
Well, it's a contract. I mean, Dad made the if what you say now. Of course, you don't have it in writing, right, Rachel?
What I'm saying right now?
No, his promise.
His promise to pay for
you
your
don't
tuition.
have that in writing. He didn't write it to you and say right.
Are you in Jersey?
Yes.
Right, you're in Blackwood, and so Dad did have a duty to support, and there is a potential for an oral contract, I suppose. It would, you might be able to. But when did all this happen? Let me ask you that. When did you graduate?
I graduated when I was 22, and I went there when I was 19, and I'm 29 now.
Yeah, too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
Too late?
Statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations is come and gone.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
This is one thing that...
Well, she actually wants to sue her. Do you have a good relationship with your father?
Today?
Not at all.
Okay, there you go.
I mentioned this a while back when this first happened, and I was on interviews, whether it was Action News or Good Morning America, that if I'm a child of a divorced family, and I'm going to college right now, and I have bills, college bills, and I hear my story,
right?
I'm hiring one of you guys to go sue my parents.
right.
I mean, why wouldn't I?
right.
I mean, the way the law is written in New Jersey,
I could have sued Lenny. His
mother.
I could have, but
I get your point. The lawsuit brings up the idea that hey, I could sue. Especially someone who doesn't. That's why I asked if she had a relationship.
So Rachel, were you
don't have a relationship?
Rachel, were you the child of a divorced family?
Married, and they separated when I was 2, and my father raised me.
Your dad raised you, and now you don't have a relationship with Dad.
Yeah. We never really were close.
Right.
Money is a horrible. and I was very troubled.
It breaks my heart.
Money is a horrible
But Rachel
thing.
Rachel does admit she was troubled.
Yeah.
So, and she said
Yeah.
it. She said it
several times.
Several times. So I mean, Dad might have a good defense here. Dad's probably sitting home.
He's
saying,
just written down troubled 3 times
Yeah.
in his answer to her complaint.
Right. Rachel, thanks for calling Court Radio. Rachel, stay on the line. We're going to get Monica to get you a Court Radio T-shirt. You've been a good sport today.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Won't pay for college tuition,
Yeah.
Rachel, but you know
can
what?
wear it.
Wear it proudly. So
Yeah, I see what you're saying, though. It could encourage, and I'm not suggesting that Rachel, thought of it just because of this, but certainly brings it to mind with someone, and I can only suggest it would be someone who doesn't have a relationship. They're bitter towards their parents, so why not sue them if I can to get money for
My question would be to you guys. I mean, when a judge goes into a courtroom and a child's emancipated, how can what the judge did in our situation was say, you know what, she's emancipated in regards to everything but college education. She's not emancipated in regards to college education.
I don't get that.
Yeah, but wait. The judge also said, I'm not going to enforce this order, right?
Well, initially,
he's talking about the original judge.
The original judge said she was emancipated for everything.
How much did they order you to pay?
Well, in the beginning, it was a bill for $906, which we told them we would pay. We would pay it. But then when she applied to Temple, without us knowing, there was then a $16,000.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Were you ordered to pay that?
We were originally, and that's where the judge went back and said it didn't enforce his original ruling.
And allowed you to appeal it.
Correct.
Or he said it would wait pending appeal.
See, what the judge has to do is he has to follow the rule of law in the state of New Jersey, okay? He can't make the law, even if he doesn't like it. But what he can say is, I'm not going to enforce this. I'm going to allow you to take an appeal because I expect
the appellate
court will change the law.
Or they can interpret it in a way. Now, is it pending? It's still pending the appeal? Okay.
Yes.
And when do you think you're going to get a decision?
It could be in the fall.
Okay. 215-227-2727. We got to take a quick break. We are going to come right back with Mike Ricci. If you got questions or comments about his daughter and their fight, she's suing him for college tuition, etc., give us a call. We'll be right back.
It's a legal and financial squeeze. You're unable to work because of an accident, but your legal case is still not settled, so you can't pay the bills to take care of your family. But now, thanks to U.S. Claims, you can. If you have a pending lawsuit, call 1-877-U.S. Claims. While you're waiting for your settlement, U.S. Claims can help you pay the bills. Get out of the squeeze. Call 1-877-U.S. Claims today. If you have legal problems and need answers, call My Philly lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first at 215-227-2727 for personal injury, medical malpractice, birth injury, and more. Call Dean first.
He will fight for your rights. That's what Dean Weitzman is all about.
Call My Philly lawyer, Dean Weitzman, first. 215-227-2727. My Philly lawyer, when winning matters most. For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
And welcome back. It's Court Radio, and I'm Dean Weitzman, joined in the studio with my co-host, David M. Rappaport.
Hey.
And we're joined with our studio guest, Mike Ricci. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Court Radio. Mike is here because he's in the news, legally speaking, involved in litigation with his natural daughter, who has sued Mike for college tuition. Mike, was taking a position where he wasn't going to pay unless he was involved in the decision-making process, and his decision-making was usurped by his own parents. You say, this sounds like a reality TV show. I mean, it's been going on for 3 years. Have you gotten to the point where you're like, enough is enough?
Well, I mean, both her mother and I have tried to reach out to her on several occasions, especially early on. But we stopped that because she was using our conversations against us, taking things that we were saying in our conversations back to her attorney, and then her attorney would put it into court documents and twist words.
Right.
I mean, he's you know how I feel about him. But anyway, she, so we had to stop communicating with her. I mean, although we've tried, her mom's tried more than I have with text messages, sending her gifts on her birthday just to try to get something back from her, because, I mean, a mother and a daughter, their bond is special, and it's it's just a shame that it has to get to this point.
Yeah, I just can't. I mean, having kids, having adult kids, having gone through divorce myself, I just can't imagine the angst. I mean, at some point, I suppose you just resolve yourself to it and you live with it. Right. But it
doesn't make it any easier.
See, I don't have kids, but I know my parents might be listening. So just be glad we don't live in Jersey, because I would have sued your butt off.
I had to go to. I actually worked.
I couldn't. They paid for Temple. I mean, my parents. I lived with them and commuted to Temple, so I wouldn't have any action against them.
My parents lost my college education at Caesars, I think. They lost it at Caesars, but I worked. I had to work.
I worked too, but still.
If I didn't,
I'd have to work my butt off, which I
worked 40 hours a week, a full-time job, and went to Temple.
No wonder you almost failed.
Yeah, almost doesn't count.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Angela from Cheltenham. Hey, Angela, welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I listen to you guys every morning on Sundays.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Yeah, I have a question. Yes, you guys are very informative.
Thank you.
I have a question. I feel bad for the guy that's there. I hope everything works out. But I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, say you're married for over 25 years, and on your life insurance at work, you list your husband as 100%. But for some odd reason, when you draw up a will, you want your kids to be that. Does the will supersede what's put on the life insurance at work?
No.
Yeah, life
No.
insurance.
Life insurance isn't even part of your estate. It's
Yeah.
a separate contractual document. So it's going to go directly to that beneficiary no matter what.
And let me tell you one other little tidbit. If you're married, you technically and legally cannot disinherit your spouse in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania. I don't think really anywhere you can. But I'm
maybe
not,
not, but I know for sure that in Pennsylvania, if your spouse decided after, let's say you were the first to pass, and your spouse said, yeah, we had agreed to that, but I'm not buying it now. I want my money. I want my fair share. Your spouse would get 1/3 of your estate, even if you left 100% of your estate in the will to your children. He could snatch 1/3. And the reason I say this is because there are a lot of people listening to court radio who are married, but they are separated from their spouse.
We've heard a lot of them. 20 years separated.
Yeah.
Never got divorced.
Never got divorced, but they stayed separated.
Right.
And they developed their own money, their own estate, and they built it up. That spouse can come back after they're dead and snatch 1/3 of their estate that they worked for their whole life.
Come out of the woodwork.
So, people say, well, I don't have a couple $1,000. I don't have the money it takes to get divorced. Well, then your spouse can snatch 1/3. 1/3.
See, but you have an easy fix. Angela. And your fix is because you're alive, thankfully, and we're talking to you. So you can call tomorrow morning and change your beneficiary on your life insurance policy to whoever you want to.
Well, yeah, but I think it's him. He has
her.
Wait, who has the life insurance, Angela? You or your husband?
No. I'm saying we both have it, right?
Right.
But I was saying, like, on both of our life insurance, I'm his beneficiary,
Right.
he's mine.
Right.
But we work at the same job too, so we would have to sign off if we didn't want each other.
If you wanted, yes, you would have to sign off. And if you want your kids to get it, then you can do that.
You can,
but you can't change it in a will.
In a will, yeah.
And it won't. It's not going to affect the life insurance.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Nope.
The will supersedes that.
Nope.
So that's different.
Nope.
Okay.
Angela, thanks for listening to Court Radio. Stay on the line. Monica's going to get your address and get you a Court Radio T-shirt.
Thank you so much.
Hold on. 215-227-2727 as usual. Running out of time.
So where are we? So it's been appealed. Right. When is there a court hearing?
We haven't had.
You haven't had oral argument yet?
Oral. That's what I meant.
No, nothing. I mean, nothing's happened so far.
Okay.
In the fall.
Now, I mentioned something about changing law. This could be a law-changing court case.
It could be
in Jersey.
We've actually had discussions with lawmakers in the state of New Jersey that are looking. Assemblyman Chris Brown started a bill and a law.
Right. So even if this goes one way or the other, it might have raised the awareness of legislature to think about the ramifications of this kind of thing.
Yeah, I think in the state of and the reason why it's going to do that is because in the state of New Jersey, and Chris Brown told us this back in the last election in November, that this was the first time in the history of the state of New Jersey that there were more divorced voters than married voters.
Interesting.
So this affects
more people. Yeah.
Have you heard, has anybody contacted you, has there been an increase in lawsuits by kids? Are there other parents who are calling you saying, we're in the same boat?
Oh, I mean, I don't know how many there are. I could tell you there's been, I've gotten phone calls at my house from strangers, emails from people supporting me, just saying that they're in similar situations. And
around the country?
Around the country in New Jersey. It was overwhelming how many responses that I got to it. So there's a lot of support for my ex-wife and I out there.
Yeah, you know what? I hope that the day comes, and it's not 10 or 11 or 12 years from now, where this is behind you and you have a relationship with your daughter.
I appreciate that.
I always want to leave hope out there that that's a relationship that can be resurrected. When the limelight's gone and the TV cameras and court radios are no longer banging on your door, that there's you raised your daughter You know, she lived in your house, and you know, you loved her, you raised her. That has to still be there, and no matter how long this goes on, it's got to kill you that this is happening.
Yeah, you know, I go back to what you said earlier about, you know, she is my daughter. Right? At the end of the day, she is my daughter, and you know, no one is won in this situation. Even though you know, we could say that the judge didn't enforce law, but we didn't win because we still don't have a relationship with her. We both love her, we care about her. We're not happy about the way she's acted over the last couple of years, but. You know,
if that were the barometer for parents loving children, I don't think there would be any love, right? Being happy with what the child does. There's never, you know, there's always going to be situations.
Right, yeah, well,
right. Exactly.
Absolutely. There's Jared Weitzman, you know, my graffiti artist son.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's more than that.
Yeah.
I've seen some of his graphic artist stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's an artist.
Yeah.
He's a bona fide artist, but he's had his moments.
Yes, he has.
You know, and but we all have.
We all have.
That's the thing.
Absolutely, yeah. But they're your child, and you still love them.
Yeah,
you still care about them.
Yeah, but this is a maybe a lesson, a life's lesson for you to teach your daughter that when you believe in something. You know, and when you love somebody, you want to be a part of their life in a meaningful way.
Right. Well, and I really appreciate, as someone who kind of looks through the mirror, because I don't have children. When you said about the entitlement generation, I get that, because I see that. I think I see it more than some parents because I don't have children. So, and people say, "Oh, you don't have children. How can you comment?" But I do see that entitlement, and I really feel for you, because I sense this struggle.
Yeah.
That you love your daughter and you want to do everything for her, yet you have this presence of mind of, you know, I can't just do whatever she wants, because that doesn't send a good message.
Let's take our last last caller for a quick comment. Daryl from North Philly, welcome to Court Radio.
Thank you, gentlemen, for taking my call. Real quick, I just wanted, I couldn't hear what the gentleman was saying was the basis of his appeal, and what does he think his chances are? Because that will really speak to anybody else trying this. But thanks, I appreciate it. Good show.
Sure. All right.
Thanks.
Take care, Daryl. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, we, as you said earlier, if we didn't think we had an opportunity to win the appeal, we probably wouldn't have went through that process. And
one of the requirements.
What happened was the judge. There was an order.
One of the requirements for support is that they're in your sphere of influence.
Correct.
Okay. And your daughter doesn't live with you. She doesn't live with your ex-wife. She lives with your parents. Neither you nor your ex-wife have any influence over your daughter today.
That's right.
Right.
And so the court is saying that may be the reason why you don't have to support her.
Right. Correct.
And that's what the appeal is based on.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So
and the chances of winning, who knows? I mean, that's something that no one can predict, really, unfortunately.
Well, listen, we wish you the best, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, we do.
I really thank you for coming to Court Radio. And you know, because it's not easy probably to have to relive this over and over and over. We wish you the best of luck. I wish you the best of success in repairing the relationship at some point.
And maybe when we hear the result or when something happens, we can have you back on.
Yeah, it would be great to have you back.
Be happy.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We are just about out of time, and unfortunately, the hour went by. We left a lot of callers on the line today.
We always have to do that.
We'll see you next week, same time, same place. God bless.